Hello there, this is the song system again. Welcome to the channel, hopefully welcome back. And today we are still with the night sky, and what we're going to be doing is following up on something that we did before. This is a sound that we were working on for the clarinet to be used in maybe soloing contexts. This is the sound that we used for the track Dark Pool, and that we were designing in the Ambient Bob Ross time number 3. So I guess this is going to be 3.1 or something like that. So at the time we made the sound, we created a morph preset for it, and we did have the idea of maybe creating something for the sequencer using that sound. Now, the way that the night sky works is you've got your central kind of, I guess, main desktop is perhaps one way to think about it. And then from that you can, by holding down the left foot switch, you create your morph preset, which is basically kind of like a shadow of that main the main settings, but the morph preset, you can change them around a little bit. You can change some of the dials around. So you can't do big fundamental changes like to the texture, like to the main algorithm, but you can play around with the knobs. So the other thing is that you've got that main kind of desktop kind of thing, but you can also create a sequence. Now, this is quite different from the morph preset, which is essentially a variation on a theme. What this does is it enables the manipulation of the size pitch knob. Now, the size pitch knob is kind of like the center in some ways of the night sky, and its basic function is what they call, I think, reflectiveness, or in other words, it's the surface that this algorithm is bouncing off. That might have something to do with the size of the space, thus the size pitch knob, but this is most obvious in the sparse mode, where it's almost like the sound is bouncing off rubber panels, incredibly flexible rubber panels, off in the far distance. So for the sound that we made using the what algorithm? The dense algorithm. We had the size pitch all the way counterclockwise. So in other words, this would be very hard, I guess, close walls as well. And what that made me think of was, well, if we've got this all counterclockwise, that means all of the movements in this sequencer would be downwards movements. So let me explain that a little bit better. What the sequencer does is it changes the position of the size pitch knob, and because this is essentially a time thing in the size pitch knob, it's a function of time. In the same way that when you turn the knob on a delay pedal, the delay time on a delay pedal, you get rising and falling pitches for what's already in the buffer. Same thing here. So we can demonstrate that quite easily. So here's the same sound. This is preset number 4 that I've put this in for myself. So here we go. You hopefully recognize that sound. So I'm going to increase the length. I put it all the way up now. And here I am changing the size pitch knob. There we go. So what I've got here is in half steps. You can set it to a particular scale, or you can set it to be smooth. So but for the preset that I have in mind, I want it in half steps. There are a great number of scales, 8 scales in fact, for each of the preset buttons that you can choose from, but I'm just using half steps. So let's put things back to where they were using the handy preset recall thing that's built into this. And the interesting thing about this size pitch knob is that any new sound coming into the buffer doesn't go in at the pitch where the size pitch started. It goes where the side pitch is. Now that's a little complicated to talk about. I'm just going to show you what I mean. Turn the length back up here. Now I hope that you can make sense of what I just did there. So we started with the size pitch and I inputted a particular note. I bent the pitch down, I played the same note and it went into the buffer as the same note. Then when I turned it back up again and the lower note, the first note, raised back up, the note that I played in the middle also got raised up. I'll show you one more time. So it's a complicated little thing, but the way that the sequencer works is that it shifts the buffer to different pitches using the size pitch function, but anything going in gets inputted at that new pitch. Does that make sense? I hope so. Putting things once again back to where they were. Oh, hold on. There we go. I'm going to go into sequencer mode now. And what I've got sorted here is I'm going to input something into the infinite hold. The first pitch of the sequencer is 100% counterclockwise, so as in the normal preset. Now, number 3 here, the third position, an octave down. And then the next one, position 5 for the sequencer, 2 octaves down. Now the reason that we can go 2 octaves down is because the knob starts completely counterclockwise. If you started with size pitch in the middle, you could only take things down by 1 octave. That's the thing that I like about this, is that because we're using size pitch entirely counterclockwise, we can reach down 2 octaves with this. So, and then for position 7, oops, darn it, I was hoping to use that as a reveal. So what we get here is back to 1 octave down. So we've got at pitch, down 1 octave, down 2 octaves, back up 1 octave. So to do that fun little thing again, we get that lovely pulse. I'm going to slow that down a little bit. There we go. Now, here's the thing that I like. Okay, we've got that basic pitch, but actually it's going to be easier if I do a major third. You can hear how when I add that major third, it gets taken down 1 octave, and if it lasted long enough, it would go down to the lower octave as well. Now, if I do that on the lowest of the 4 notes in the sequencer, you can hear how it moves up the octave there. So what that means is when we play something at pitch, it gets shifted down 2 octaves, 1 octave then 2 octaves, and if we play something in the lower, when it's at its lowest position, we actually get it brought up 2 octaves. So we're going to get basically a full 5 octave spread out of this sequencer. So let's put it back up to that fast thing. It has to be fast so that, I mean, we could increase the length. That's an option here. Let's see how it sounds though, just like this. So you can hear how when I sustain a note and the sequencer is collecting things into the buffer the whole time, we get this really big reproduction of that single note across 5 octaves. I like that, and I also like it as fast as possible, like this. Let's see what happens when we increase the length. So because the note that I'm inputting is basically going into the buffer at all 3 of those positions, with it's 4, but it's 3 kinds of 3 note positions. We get this really large spread. And it's got that lovely rhythmic pulse to it as well. Now we can also take off that, and I found this one to be very pleasant as well. Yeah. Probably the volume needs to be brought down a little bit there, but now I do actually prefer it at this slightly shorter thing, so it's more of like a tone that's shadowing the clarinet as I'm improvising. There we go. Now, hopefully that makes sense. I would like to show you a little something else that I've built into this. It's nice with the 3, it's nice with the 4, but if I'm playing, for example, over a dominant harmony or a diminished harmony, usually, because there are so many different kinds of harmony, I don't like to have anything that implies harmony too strongly, unless I can fit it to a particular scale. And because of the way that this shifts pitches, even if you've got it set up to be within a particular scale, it can end up being it can end up complicating the harmony of the situation. Not necessarily a bad thing if you're doing it for effect intentionally, but the exception to this is the tritone, which I can use in diminished harmony and dominant harmony and get some different effects. So what I've got here is all of these even numbered things I've put in as the tritones. So we've got our original 100% clockwise size, pitch, position. Then we've got down a tritone, down the octave like we had before, an octave and a tritone, 2 octaves down, and then the journey back up. So, let's play around with that. That's fast. A little more slowly. Oops. That's right. We're already using the filter there, the high cut. I was going to try and cut some of that high noise there, but those are the options that I've got now within this this preset. I can I've got my basic sound. I can shift it up to the morph preset, which is a longer variation of the sound, or I can switch it down into this sequencer thing where I can get these interesting pulsy kind of sounds. I'm just going to go out of the sequencer a second and make sure I've got this high cut set properly, volume where it was, and what was the other thing I was playing with? The length. There we go. So we've got our original preset here, which is very bell-like, metallic. with a touch of a few buttons. I'll simplify it down to this. Which then gives us even more flexibility because it's just based on an octave movements. So. There we go. And I think that's where I'm gonna leave it there, both in terms of this preset and for the session. I'd like to do a recording at some point using those three sounds, going between them, maybe with a little bit of looping. But for now, I think I'm going to leave it at that. So that was our a little addition there to the session that gave us the dark pool track, and I do hope that's been interesting. I think I'll go ahead and save that and hopefully get to use it at a gig sometime when that kind of thing starts up again. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this. I hope it's been interesting. I hope that you've been able to learn something about the NightSky there, the way that buffer works. Perhaps not the best explanation. It is something that, for me personally, is more visual than verbal, but hopefully something has gotten across there. So, thank you for sticking around.